Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? I like to read Pro Football Talk to see what Florio's got over there. There's a rumor mill section, and it's just a good way to follow news around the NFL every given day. And I came across this one earlier today and thought, that might be an interesting target for New Orleans. Obviously, at the safety spot, the Saints, it just didn't work out with Marcus May. They signed him to a deal. He missed basically a full season missed 17 games over 2 years, effectively missed a full season in the 2 years he was with New Orleans. And when he was on the field, wasn't very good. So you busted there. You missed there. And you drafted Jordan Howden last year, and he played pretty well. And you signed Jonathan Abram from the Raiders, and he played pretty well. And in tandem, they did well, but you were still short of body. And then they went and signed Will Harris from Detroit, who kind of gives you that guy who's been he's a young veteran who started and played in the league, can be a backup for you, can play some special teams, you like it. And then you got your other guys, right? JT Gray, who's a special teamer, is going to make it. Some guys might be practice squad guys. But I still look at the safety position for New Orleans and think, okay, are Jordan Howden and Jonathan Abram like full-time, long-term options at safety? And I don't know that I can say that definitively. Maybe Howden. I don't know so much about Abram just because he's just a bit later in his career. And then Tyrann Mathieu is 32 years old, and you really legitimately have to start wondering at this point in his career how much longer he's going to play. So that's one of those positions where you have to start to think anyway about what the future at safety is going to look like for the New Orleans Saints. And Florio today had a piece up at Pro Football Talk where he started talking about Lewis Cine. And if you don't remember, Lewis Cine is a safety out of Georgia who was a first-round pick of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I want to remind you of this because Lewis Cine actually was responsible for a viral moment that we had 2 years ago at our draft watch party over at Don Juan. One of the prop bets that Jimmy Ott had was over on the total number of defensive backs taken in round one. So they get to pick 32. It's the Vikings. It's the last pick of round one. And this needs to be a defensive back. And everybody is thinking it's going to be Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty, who, of course, had a much longer wait, but we didn't know it at the time. So we caught this all live on our stream. So it's me, Ott, and a rather inebriated Charles Hannegriff, who's insisting that the pick is going to be Malik Willis. But this is how it all transpired.
Minnesota DB.
Oh, you need a Minnesota DB.
DB. You know,
this is Malik Willis. This is Malik Willis.
Can they list him as a DB?
This is Malik Willis 16 times.
You know how fired up I would be. This is
very nice. Look at this guy. Can't win them all. It's all right.
All right, here we go.
It's all right.
All right, Otter, what
Can't
we
win
got?
them all. Can't win them all.
Here we go.
Can't win them all.
It's not Malik
Can't
Willis.
win them all.
I read his lips. It's not Malik Willis.
It's Hassan! Ah! It's Hassan! He got a DB!
All right. One of the most ridiculous moments, but those are the kind of moments that you can only get when you're hanging out with Jimmy Ott, who's sweating out prop bets at the draft watch party at Don Juan when you're 4 hours into a broadcast and everybody's been drinking all night. But Lewis Cine was the pick. So I will always remember the Lewis Cine selection by the Minnesota Vikings because it begot that very, very authentic reaction and moment. And yes, that was me screaming like a hyena. Anyway, but Lewis Cine has been a bust. There's no other way to say it. Lewis Cine has been a bust for the Minnesota Vikings. In his 2 years with the Vikings, Cine has played in just 10 career games in 2 years. He had a major leg injury. He had a compound fracture in his leg his rookie season in week 4. So he only played in those 4 games his rookie year before the leg injury. And then last year he came back and just wasn't good. He played in just 7 games. So he played in 3 games as a rookie. It was week 4, but he only played in 3 games. And then last year he played in just 7 games and mostly as a special teamer. In 2 seasons, he's played in 10 games and has 1 tackle. 1. That's it. In 2 years. A guy that was a first-round draft pick at safety. So it's just not gone well at all for Lewis Cine. And I'm not sitting here trying to suggest that Lewis Cine could have a career resurgence in New Orleans and become some type of all-pro, but there was enough physical ability there to warrant selecting him with a first-round draft pick. And sometimes a change of scenery, a new defense, a fresh start is good for players. And when I look at the Saints, you are getting older at safety. And the thing about Lewis Cine is while he's still on his rookie deal, the feeling, and this is what Florio wrote, is that he's not one of the 53 best players. Like, he just on merit shouldn't make the 53-man roster. Now, sometimes because you used a first-round pick, sometimes you'll keep him around. There's not a big cost-saving measure there for Minnesota either if they were to cut him. But sometimes a change of scenery helps. And sometimes a high draft pick is Stanley Jean-Baptiste. And you used a second-round pick on him, but he didn't even make the roster in year 2 because kid just couldn't play. You missed. You whiffed. If that happens in Minnesota and they end up letting Lewis Cine go, maybe that's a guy that the Saints could scrap off the trash heap and see if they can rehabilitate him into something in New Orleans, a spot where the Saints need to get younger. We'll follow it as we get closer to camp. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.